Google. Let's go get him again.
What's going on, fragrance family? Welcome to the Roja Dove channel. I'm your host, Mark, and welcome to Sampling Samples Saturday, your subscribers' choice. With a total vote of 22, it was your winner this week to be reviewed. The voting was extremely close in this one between this, Baby Cat, and the Nasomato. But today's Sampling Samples is from the brand of Roja Dove, Roja Perfumes, which I haven't spoke about on my channel for several years. I own two Roja fragrances, Creation E and Amber Oud. That's it when I first tested them out years ago, like eons ago. And after that, I didn't touch it. This brand is very much known for giving out free bottles. They are the leader of the free bottle brigade. Them and Xerjoff, like, Roja Dove is like the brand, like I call it the Goofy brand, like Goofy from Disney. Why? And this is why they're goofy, because on one side you got the influencer that has 24 bottles. They send it to people that have zero knowledge on fragrances and push their product, and then beside them they have their Instagram accounts right beside each other. You have the one that's trying to flex on how many Roja bottles they have purchased, and those are the type of people that bring their bottles inside their car, take a picture of the steering wheel of their Mercedes with the Roja and their watch. That's why this is the Goofy brand, because those two are going like, they must be the ones that spent a lot of money on their Roja Dove collection must be mad at the influencer that just got 12 bottles for free because they have a YouTube channel. It is hilarious, and that's why it's the Goofy brand. Now, and that's why I've kind of stayed away from Roja Dove, because it's like Xerjoff, maybe a step higher, just because Roja Dove has experience within the fragrance realm for decades. Like he was with Guerlain, so he knows what a excellent fragrance with, and he appreciates classical. So that's one thing that I like about Roja Dove is, one thing I like is that he does like classical fragrances, brings back discontinued fragrances, but that is a double-edged sword for the brand because they're not unique. And that's the thing. You buy a Roja Dove fragrance and yeah, you know, it smells like quality, but it smells like something else. So it's a brand that is not, it's not a trendsetter. It really isn't. And again, with the whole Goofy thing, I hate those bottles and the people that are associated with this brand. It does not feel like a premium brand. Like Guerlain does not give out free bottles, and that's a premium brand. That's what I like. Serge Lutens, I like that brand. No free bottles. You see that influencers, they stay away from certain brands because they can't afford them. Plain and simple. So now going back to this one, and I know you've clicked on it to talk about this one, but I haven't sampled a Roja Dove scent for that long, like several years. I've just stayed away, clear cut, stayed away. It'll be interesting to start sniffing some of these, kind of like what I did with Xerjoff. And this one, I would presume, is the aquatic from the brand. So we're going to get to know this one in this video, just because of the name called Oceania. As per the look of the bottle, their marketing, all that is aquatic. But we also need to remember to refer to the region of the world that includes Australia, which is also Oceania. So it may be referring to that. I'm not too sure. So let's delve into this one and let's see how it did. And is it truly an aquatic? I'm getting to something here. Now, let's go under the hood. Let's take a look at some stats on this one. Release date was back in 2019, so it has a few years under it. Concentrations with the parfum. The nose is Roja Dove, and that's another thing from the brand. He's got ghostwriters. Sorry to say, Roja Dove has, unless he proves something to us, ghostwriters, it really reminds me of the brand of Creed a little bit, Ghostwriter City. I digress. Notes. Let's take a look at the note breakdown, and I'm just going to let you know about the major notes that I feel are appropriate in this release. Florals. This thing is heavy on the florals and heavy on the citruses, honestly. So already we're starting to see that. Where's the aquatic notes? Yeah. So we got lemon up top, which is, there's like a million citruses up top, but lemon's the most prominent. And then we got two florals here that are pretty prominent in this one, violet and lavender. Let's get to sniffing. Now, beyond my hate for the brand, the free bottle brigade and all that, I'm always fair with fragrance reviews. You're good or not. I don't care if you got bejeweled caps. Doesn't really matter to me. So we have a little dabber here, a la Lucky Scent. That's not a Lucky Scent sample, but it reminds me of it. And it will This will remind me of the introduction of the fragrance. I am wearing it as my scent of the day today. And, okay. First things first, Oceania opens up not aquatic at all. It was not what I was expecting here. You are hit with a wave, pun intended, of citruses. The citruses in Oceania are fantastic. They are. They're bright, they're uplifting, they're a little tart, and are extremely authentic. And three-dimensional to my nose, and I absolutely love that. Not too many brands can do that. There's a few out there that can do that, that can give tartness, you could smell the peel and the rind, and everything about the citrus. Here, oh, the citruses remind me of the use of citruses by Xerjoff, talking about Free Bottle Brigade. This is a compliment both to Xerjoff and to Roja. The one thing that Xerjoff can do well, they can't do much great, but citruses, they are great at them. They are one of the best in the game. And this is absolutely gorgeous. This is opening the citrus. You are hit with a 1-2 punch of lemon lime and up top. And they kind of remind me, without the carbonation, it reminds me a little bit of a 7-Up Sprite type of thing. I'd say the lemon is the star of the citruses, but it's a mixed bowl. That also includes grapefruit. I'm going to include that as the three-headed monster with the lemon and the lime. The other citruses are in a note break. Like this note breakdown is huge, and I think that's more of a, I'm not saying that's a marketing ploy, but kind of is. Like, ooh, look at us. We're really crazy with the note breakdowns. I don't smell like half of the stuff that's in here. I don't doubt that it's in there. And I think they're more transparent than other brands, but they use it as a marketing scheme personally, I feel. But anyway, the other citruses are throwaways in my personal opinion. Perhaps a little orange splash here, but honestly, the note breakdown here is just a little much. So I'll stick to the ones that are major players, which is lemon, lime, grapefruit, a little bit of orange. The citruses have their moment, but it's short-lived as it's met with aromatics and some herbs, mainly an outstanding, and I mean outstanding, lavender note, and some rosemary and some thyme. So you're getting some herbal, and herbs and citruses work very, very well. And it reminds me, going more into Italy than anything, it reminds me of fine Italian fragrances because of the use of the herbs and the citruses. You'll see a lot of that in Italian based fragrance brands, especially the higher end niche ones. The opening is thin, well balanced, and a beautiful, gorgeous, aquatic, no, but a really good introduction. But it's very written or composed in a classical style, in a way. And I'm going to get to that. Now, moving away from that introduction and now starting to get more into the mid, we're moving towards this floral apex here. The citruses and herbs follow suit surprisingly. So the florals and the herbs continue, and surprisingly is more of the citruses than the herbs, as they should have died off by now, but they continue to push themselves within this mid. The lavender takes a larger role here. Does not smell like dryer sheets at all to me, thank God. The lavender is paired with an airy, dewy, powdery violet note, which plays a major central role here. This is the spot where Oceania actually starts showing some watery tones, but so very mild. You have to look for them. Oceania never goes full aquatic on me. Never go full aquatic. Unless you're Selmare by James Healy. That's the best aquatic in the game. It barely hints to even being an aquatic. It's like, and you're not oceanside, but you're close enough to hear the waves crashing, smell a little bit of it from what you're getting here, but you can't see it. This is where Oceania is. You know it's there, but you can't see it. That's where this fragrance makes a little magic here. And I don't mind saying that it has a little bit of magic here in my opinion. And without this trick, this fragrance would be just an okay, like a classical, really nice citruses, and that's a classical style back end. I really think that's where the magic is right here, the use of the florals and kind of making you think that it is barely an aquatic scent. It's not, but it has some watery aspects, which is a neat trick here. Yeah, so this makes Oceania airy. and it makes it transparent while being a little watery, but without being aquatic. So it's a neat trick. There's iris in here, there's jasmine. Again, the florals do dominate. There's ylang ylang that helps the smoothness, the creamy aspects of this scent. The florals are the star of the show here, bar none, and they truly take you on a ride. Now, the first section, citruses, perfect, great use of them. They're great, they're 3D, they're beautiful. The florals, same thing. Beautiful, great, they take you on a ride. The base will introduce some musks. There's some cedar in here and sandalwood to give the small aspect of woods here, and giving it a little bit of bulkiness, but not too much. Now, in the back end of this fragrance, there is some green aspects here that could come from the vetiver and the galbanum, which is actually unique to see that in a base note. Just to note that usually galbanum's at the top of fragrances. The scent warms up a bit here in the back end of the scent with the resins and the woods coming up a bit, but just enough. I'm not saying this is a thick fragrance, it's not. Overall, it's a very welcoming and easy to like scent, perhaps not for the price tag, but I think that is why this is so popular in the lineup. But Roja Dove has a demographic, older folks, and no hate on that, but his fragrances are based upon older fragrances. He brings back old fragrances and bottles them and gives them really good ingredients, and you pay a premium for them. That's pretty much what it is. So frag heads that are real frag heads will see this as a very simple, straightforward scent that has surprising complexity. Not everybody's going to catch that, but people like us will catch it. I mean, it does have some surprising complexity, and the way it was put together, blended, well done. Whoever's the ghostwriter on this one, congrats, you did well. Now, with many Rojas, it makes you ponder what scent in the past was this really inspired by. I don't think I've ever smelt a Roja and said, oh, this is new. This is a new creation. It's all old ideas, and Oceania, personally, did this for me. It felt familiar. I'm like, I smelt this before. I could not pinpoint what it smelled like, but it's familiar. Maybe after this video, I'll be like, aha, like big aha moment. Usually that's what it does. Like, I'm like, the video's coming up. Trying to remember what this smells like, going through my collection. Maybe it was a sample. However, I'm going to throw up my bottle of Erolfa, my very old bottle of Erolfa. Look at this, 4 fluid ounce. This is old school Erolfa. It's got a small dent into it, but this fragrance, Erolfa, and this fragrance, Oceania, have the exact same idea, sort of. I'm not saying they're the same. I'm not saying that they smell alike, no. But Erolfa did this idea better, and not as complex, no. But Erolfa is making this as a purchase for me kind of redundant. And Erolfa does see way better. Like, this is definitely, you're on a boat. You can smell that. And Creed did an outstanding job with Erolfa. Very underrated as the Creeds go. A lot of them get press, but this one should get more press, honestly. It's a great one. And I did a fragrance review on that and gave it its flowers. Again, I'm not saying Oceania smells like this, because it's not. It's a different, you're off the boat, you're away. So not an aquatic. Erolfa aquatic. So, but it feels a little bit kind of same family, maybe. I don't know. Let's get into seasons, day, night, versatility, and performance. Seasons. Oceania, versatile. So obviously summer, but spring too. The heavy florals, the spring, obviously. Start of fall. This is a killer, by the way. I wore it during a rainy day. Like, I've been wearing a lot. I had a couple rainy days, obviously. If you're following all my reviews, you're seeing me talking about rainy days. Yeah, I wore this one during a rainy day. Oceania was awesome. Perfect. It was a killer. Day or night, I feel like this is more daytime use. It's a versatile, dress it up, dress it down. Not interesting enough for nighttime, but you can wear it during the night, whatever. Versatility above average. Again, like I'm saying, 3 seasons out of 4, technically. It could be your signature scent at work, all seasons. Dress it up, suit, tux, yeah, right down to casual, just hanging around at home. Yeah, above average. Performance. Performance, it's a classically built fragrance, so I'm assuming I'm gonna get good performance, but not great performance, and that's exactly where it is, smack dab. Longevity, 6 to 8 hours. Below average projection. This thing did not, again, I'm just working with a little sample. Bottle may be different. You're spraying a lot more than what I'm getting out of my little dabber, obviously. But 6 to 8 hours longevity, below average projection. It did not project that much off my skin. So my final thoughts on Oceania by Roja Dove, my first impression of a Roja fragrance in 7+ years on my channel are what? Well, first of all, let's get this little nugget out of the way. If you're expecting a full-on aquatic, you will miss the boat completely. Pun intended, I'm full of puns today. It's not a straightforward aquatic, but there's a neat trick here giving you the idea in the mid where the violet starts and the florals come into play, where this scent turned a little watery. Just a little. It surprised me up top, as I was not expecting a citrus and herbal component melange. That's exactly what I was getting. Nothing aquatic, but just herbs and citruses. But I finally got the Oceania feeling in the mid of this release. Is it overpriced? That's up to you and your wallet, 100%. It's not up to me. Do I feel like there's probably better Roja Dove fragrances out there? Most likely. Personally, I won't go full retail on this one, but if I do find a partial bottle for half price as a fragrance reviewer and build my Roja collection, I'll get it. Rojas are usually for the older gents, and I can see this opening up his demographic actually, because I think this release can only help the brand, and I think it did. It opened up some people's eyes to the brand. Is it a masterpiece? No, hardly. No. Is it overpriced? In my opinion, yeah. If you're asking me, and you shouldn't be asking me, it's all up to your wallet. Yeah. Is it good? Yeah, it is actually pretty good. It does what a Roja Dove does. Reminds me of something in the past. Smells well blended and smells authentic. When I'm talking about the citruses and the florals, you can tell as a creative director, Roja knows what is needed in a fragrance release. And that's probably what separates, you know, the free bottle brigades of Xerjoff versus a Roja Dove, is the creative directors of both brands. I'm not saying Mr. Momo here from Xerjoff doesn't know what he's doing. Well, he knows what he's doing. But Roja has that vast experience from the House of Guerlain, that he's more, can I say upscale? Yeah. A little less goofy. Yeah, still goofy though. And I think that's because of the whole free bottle brigade. Kind of makes me think goofy, like people that are trying to flex and people that have free bottles doing the same type of collages on Instagram is funny to me. But anyway, and here's my puny little two bottle collection that I bought myself. At the end of the day, is it an aquatic? Sorta, not really, not really. It's a commercial release for the brand, in my opinion. This is a fragrance that they made to open up the brand to new noses. I think they succeeded. It's more mainstream and it's more inviting than a lot of the older stuff, I would say. So if I had to give it a score, I always give scores to sampling samples because you never know if you're going to see this fragrance again on my channel. I'd give it a very solid 8 out of 10. And there's some build there that I really, really like. And I can't poo-poo Roja for all the outside noise. I have to take a look at the fragrance at face value, and that's where that score comes into play. 8 out of 10, it would be something I would rock. If I didn't have the income that I have now, would I be purchasing this versus all other, let's say, aquatics, freshies, citruses? Probably not. As a collector, yeah, I'd love to have a bottle in my collection. As a fragrance reviewer, of course. I should be checking out more Roja Doves in the next coming years as far as samples go. I don't have the full bottle. I have a couple fragrances that I want, the more expensive ones from the brand, to actually sniff out. So I may do that, get a couple samples of it. But other than that, my interest in the Roja Dove as a brand is very minimal. But now you heard my take. I'd love to see yours in the comments below. Again, you know, outside noise, I've said my piece about the outside noise of the brand. And as always, a great pour fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your scent wisely. Thanks for watching, YouTube. Have a good one.